Alright, ladies and gentlemen, today I would be at the drag strip today at Wilkesboro because it's the first point series race and classic gear jammers there, but I've got to work on this car, my 98 Ford Mustang. It's got a antifreeze leak, so stay tuned and I'll show you where it's at. Alright, as you can see, I've got the battery out. You don't have to take the battery out, but I did because I could use the battery to help me do the electrical on that Fox body back there. So that's the reason why I took the battery out. But I've got to take this plenum off, the lower intake off, because I've got a, I know you can't see it, but I've got a antifreeze leak in the back here at the lower plenum. So all of this up here has to come off, so let's get to it. Alright, I've taken this portion of the cold air intake off, but I'm taking the rest of this out so I can get to the filter, which is inside this fender, so I can clean the filter. You don't have to take this part off, but you do have to take this part off to get the plenum and stuff off. So after that, then I'll start with all that junk and show you what I have to, what has to come off. So stay tuned for that. All right, next you take this connector off, this connector off, this connector off, that connector off right there, this hose that goes right here off. Then you gotta take this hose off of the EGR, and then these are, this bolt and this bolt right here are 8mm, and they hold your cruise control and your throttle. So you take them out and you can just lay them over here. So that's what I'm doing now, so stay with me. Oh yeah, and take a lot of pictures so you know where everything goes to. So there's a good tip right there. Take a lot of pictures. Alright, next you take this nut off, which I've already done, and you take this nut off to remove this whole bracket, as you see. Just like that. And everything should be loose. Now you just gotta figure out if you want to take all the hoses off just to get it out, or just lay it to the side. I'm probably just going to lay it to the side. So there you go. So next I gotta take the bolts out of the EGR and get it disconnected. So that's next. Alright, you gotta take the rest of the hoses off of this and then unbolt the EGR like I already have. Now you're gonna have to take a deep socket, get to this, and then a regular socket to this, and then these four, and then a bolt that's right here you gotta take off, and then this top intake should come off after you get these off. and it should just pop right off. So we'll see. All right, all the bolts are out of the upper intake. So now let's see if the upper intake will come off, or is there something hiding to where I can't get it off. So we'll see. Here we go. Oh, yep, there is something hiding. There's a hose underneath. I don't know if you can see it. There's a hose that I've got to take off right back here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's right back here. So I got to take that off, and the upper intake should come off. All right, as you can see, the upper intake is off, or upper plenum, however you want to call it. But what was catching was this PCV hose that runs to the bottom of the upper intake. That's what was holding it from coming off. So after you get that off, you're good to go. So now let's dive in to try to get the bottom one off. So let's dive into that now. All right, as you know, you gotta drain your coolant, but with me, I just had pure water. I know I had pure water in mine, so, but you have to catch it in something. And you don't have to you have to disconnect the upper radiator hose from the thermostat housing, which is connected to the lower plenum. You have to take it off there, but you don't have to take it completely off the vehicle. But I'm going to make it more easy and assess everything easy, so I'm taking mine completely off. So that's what I'm doing now, and then I gotta tackle all of that next, so stay tuned. All right, next you gotta take out these two bolts, and those two bolts are there for the fuel rail. And then you gotta take one that's on the back of the head right here for the fuel rail too, to get it loosened up. Then you can pop the fuel injectors out, but you can't move it because of this rail here, and that's for your coolant. And then you got another coolant line that you got to take off. So that's what I'm at now. So, and to take this one off, you got to take two bolts that are connected to the headers. You got to take them off just to get this off. So let's do it. Alright, y'all, that hose right there will be a pain in the butt to get off. Because it goes underneath the fuel line right here and connects to here and bolts down there, and then the other end connects to right there where my finger's pointing. So it's gonna be a pain to get out, but I've got mine out. But this is where I gotta stop for today. I'll pick it up later. See y'all. Alright, hey guys and gals, this is day 2 of working on my 98 Mustang. To give y'all a recap, I was having leaks back here, antifreeze leaks back here, and as you can tell, it's got oil and everything on it. That's why I'm taking it off to redo the gasket, but it was leaking back here with antifreeze. So that's the reason why it's tore down like this. So let me get into it and show you some of the process. All right, I finally got this crossover piece from the water pump right here. You have to pry and everything to get that out of the water pump because of an O-ring on it, if it's been sitting for a while. So got that out. Now I'm getting ready to get the fuel injectors popped out of the heads, and then it's time to release the bolts on the lower intake. So let's get after it. All right, guys and gals, as you see, I've gotten the lower intake off, and I've already went ahead and put the new gaskets on. These just pop in because they got little little spots for the dowels to go in, and these have little metal retaining clips to hold them in. So you don't have to use silicone, so that's a good thing. So now I'm going to replace the thermostat while I've got it out. You really don't have to, but I am. I don't know when the last time the thermostat was replaced, so I'm going to do that now. So see you in a little bit. All right, guys and gals, as you see, I got the thermostat inlet off, and here's the thermostat. So what do y'all think? Y'all think it's been replaced before or not? I don't think it has, but I'm also considering if I should put new bolts in on the thermostat housing. So I'll let you know if I did that. So let's get all this cleaned up and get this lower intake back on. Alright, as you can see, I've got the lower intake on, and I torqued them down. It's not feet pounds, it's inch pounds. I done 50 inch pounds the first go around, and then I did 90 on the second go round of inch pounds. So that's what I did. It could be different on yours, so all you gotta do is look it up. So now just button up the fuel rails, getting them in, and then possibly putting this back in. So we'll see where I get. Alright, I've got this tube back in and bolted down. So next I'm going to take both valve covers off and reseal them with the gaskets I bought. So that's what's next before I put the upper intake on. So let's get to it. Alright, I've already taken that valve cover off and put it back on to change out the gasket on it. Now I'm doing this side, and you got like 5 bolts. You got 2 up here and 3 down here. This one I had to use a 5/16 wrench to get to it because of the brake booster, but some of y'all might not have to. I did. So now I'm doing this one, and it's right over there. I'm about done with it. I'm getting ready to put it back on, and then the intake can go on. So stay tuned for that. Alright, that's what it looks like after you get it all done. You got to change these out too, which are right up underneath these metal pieces. that just pop out of the gasket here and slide out. So that's that. So now this one is getting ready to be put on the car, and then hopefully the upper intake put on. So let's get to it. All right, now both valve cover gaskets have new gaskets. Now it's time for the upper intake to get put on, and we're getting closer to getting it back together. So let's get it. All right, I've got this heater hose pipe back in. I've got this hose back on. So now it's time for the intake. I don't know what's been taking me so long, but now it's time for the intake. So now let's get to the intake. All right, the intake is on and torqued down to it. I found it having a two-step process of torquing it down. The first step was 72 and the last one was 108 inch-pounds. So if that is wrong, put it down in the comments and let other people know, because that's what I found. The first step was 72 inch-pounds and the second one was 108 inch-pounds on the upper intake. So just put it in the comments if that is wrong.